Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Hi. History and stuff. Let's go. Battle of Cornus. History March just came out with their next Hannibal episode. Of course, you're watching that right now. Amazing maps. If you're a map lover like myself, then you're in for a treat. If you are not ready to learn, there's the door. Don't hit yourself on the way out. Home ec is down the hall. You're in the wrong class. It is B period. Merry Christmas, guys. Happy December. Right? Let's go. All right. Yeah, original link to the video, top of the description. My name is Connor. If you're new, I like to learn about history and stuff through YouTube recommendations. Discord link will be right below the original video link. Just hit on it. Don't be shy. We'll send you right over there. DM me if you want. All right. Say hi. And on the left-hand side, you'll see video recommendations down at the bottom. Just link them in there. Although, well, that's not an although. Do that for sure. But Armchair Historian. I show this. This is a game changer because as people who have dealt with me on a somewhat personal level, they know that me and schedules have we have a difficult relationship, but that might be solved. Not well. Just look at this. Armchair Historian map website. Let's see if that does it. Interactive map right here. Why is my table so squeaky? Look at this. So, this is I dreamed about this, but I never even got close to kind of like writing it on my whiteboard or whatever. He has a whole website set up of someone like me who's just I hope Armchair Historian doesn't mind people putting this. I'm sure he doesn't. I'm sure it's perfect. Like I get a map and I go around and it says like 1927. Those are all I believe how many videos are about then. And not only that, it has all these different eras. It has Rome over here. Oh my God, this is so great. Medieval history, or ancient history, medieval history, early modern. Too early modern? Long 19th century. So I'm assuming a bit before. And then it has then it has the Great War, World War II. What's this one? Cold War. And then modern history. Awesome. I could just go through all of these. I could just start here and also put in videos, like random videos that are recommended and some that I want in between. But I could just go through this whole thing. Anyways, that's a possibility. All right. Let's go. Start. Sorry, the audio wasn't on. Start. God, this channel keeps getting better and better.
By the autumn period of 216 BC, Hannibal was consolidating his power base in southern Italy. His main army at Capua stood at around 40,000 men, including additions from his Samnite allies. His brother Mago, now on his way south with 1,200 Numidians, would recruit an additional 17,000 Lucanians and Brutians, and bring his own force up to over 18,000 troops. Opposing them, Rome scrambled to raise new legions over the coming months. An impressive 80,000 troops would be put to field in Italy, with the majority concentrated in the south. But despite the Roman numerical strength exceeding that of their enemy, many of these were inexperienced recruits who felt abject terror at the thought of meeting Hannibal in battle. Worse, in some of the settlements of central Italy, the number of Roman and allied fighting men began to dwindle, which was a testament to the blood toll exacted on them by Hannibal's tactical superiority and his wealth of ideas on the battlefield. Fabius Maximus, the father of the Fabian strategy, would again be elected consul for the next 2 years. He would revert to avoiding conflict with the Carthaginian general to preserve the troops and give Rome's manpower time to recover. But while the war was thus far mostly dominated by the campaign of Hannibal in Italy, as the year 215 rolled around, the Second Punic War would spread across the Mediterranean. Look, you may enjoy how Hannibal dominates the Romans on the battlefield, but you won't enjoy your lost time, money, data, and comfort.
Sponsor.
Today's sponsor offers a perfect solution to help you keep your data and
If anyone happens to use any of the kind of ads on any of my channel, just please use the promo codes that are in it. It helps my sort of reaction or guilt. Just make sure to use History March.
Secure, your money in your wallet, and your comfort maintained. It's super easy to use. One click connects you to over 5,100 super-fast servers in 60 countries on Windows, Android, iOS, macOS, Linux, and more. NordVPN is the fastest VPN provider on the market. If you're looking to watch movies and TV shows that aren't available in your country, just click on the map and access all the content you can ever watch. If you're a gamer and the game you want to play isn't available where you live, you're just one click away. Another cool thing is that you can get discounts that are geo-blocked. NordVPN encrypts all of your traffic, so your internet provider can't slow down your streaming speed.
If anyone's watching right now, how many, do any of you guys have a VPN? I just see these as sponsors on, everything. This, Magellan TV.
So what are you waiting for?
Curiosity.
Support our channel and get the Cyber Month deal. Go to nordvpn.com/historymarch to get a 2-year plan plus 1 additional month with a huge discount.
Use the History March.
And don't forget to use the coupon code HistoryMarch.
And the coupon code.
Protect yourself online
That helps
with
him out.
NordVPN. While Hannibal worked to add to his list of allies, his other objective was reinforcements. His brother Mago advanced south and besieged Petelia. Together with Consentia, these two cities were among the most prominent in Brutium, boasting a developed infrastructure, imposing walls, and a bustling city culture. In its quest to establish dominion over Italy, Rome favored the urban centers of Brutium and had long been replacing their local ruling elite with the pro-Roman aristocracy. In turn, the pro-Roman factions of Petelia and Consentia treated the less urbanized communities in the region with disdain, which created a rift among Brutians. Needless to say, these internal divisions suited Rome as they made the region easier to control. But Mago now used this hostile factionalism to his advantage. He circulated news that Petelia was besieged, prompting thousands of Brutians, who were angry at the city for siding with Rome, to join Hannibal. With his work in Brutium complete, Mago left Hannah.
How bad was that voice crack right there? Well done.
The elder in charge of the army, and embarked for Carthage to seek support for the campaign in Italy. By this stage, neither side was the undisputed master of the sea. While Rome had overall superiority, the Carthaginian navy had significantly recovered from the setback earlier in the war. Both could patrol far into enemy waters and raid coastal towns, but lacked the strength to rule the waves of the western Mediterranean. But with most of Brutium now under Hannibal's control, there was less risk for transporting troops from Africa to Italy. And with this, Mago disembarked in Carthage. Murmurs reverberated in the packed Senate hall. In attendance, all of Carthage's notables anxiously waited. Then Mago rose to speak, presenting before the Senate the progress of the campaign in Italy. Colleagues, countrymen, since crossing the Alps, Hannibal had won several victories, including 3 great pitched battles against Rome's main armies, 2 of which were completely destroyed and their camps looted. And now the Romans avoid fighting us altogether out of fear. 200,000 Roman fighting men are slain and 50,000 prisoners are taken. Italy is in a state of revolt, and the south had gone over to Hannibal. With a single army, Hannibal had achieved all of this against several Roman armies.
That's crazy how Hannibal came from the north to end up capturing the south. Like, if I were to see this map right here without the context of the previous videos, I would, and without knowing that Hannibal crossed the Alps to get to Italy, I would think that it was a seaborne invasion and they landed successfully and are working their way up towards Rome, but obviously that wasn't the case.
Mago then turned away from the map to present to the Senate a bag filled with hundreds of golden rings belonging to the Roman aristocracy that fell at Cannae.
This guy's putting on a good presentation.
He asked for funds and additional armies to be sent to Italy. With another 20 to 30,000 troops at his disposal, Hannibal would break Rome.
I'm sold. I like that presentation. Give him the money.
Mago's presentation suggested that with the 18,000-strong army that he himself had recruited, consistent pressure could be applied in Bruttium until the last of the cities loyal to Rome either came to Hannibal's side or were taken by force. Another army of 20,000 from Carthage could take and hold Apulia and its vital ports, thereby cutting Rome's ability to contest the waters of the Ionian Sea. This would open lines of communication between Hannibal and a likely ally, Philip V of Macedon, enabling uninterrupted transport of ships, provisions, and troops. Finally, stationed in Campania...
I really want to learn about Greece, ancient Greece before Carthage, before the Punic Wars here.
With his main host, Hannibal. Finally, stationed in Campania with his main host, Hannibal would have complete control over southern Italy. With 3 armies in close proximity, capable of quickly combining their forces, as well as controlling their respective areas individually, Carthaginian authority over local communities and cities would be absolute. As such, Hannibal could fully exploit southern Italy's manpower and resources to beat the Romans at their own game, the war of attrition, and could
It blows my mind how they lose.
Use his tactical brilliance to dominate the Romans on the battlefield. Hearing Mago's report, most of the Senate rejoiced. But, as fortunes of war would have it, Hannibal's worst enemies were not in Rome, but in Carthage.
What do you...
When Hanno II stood up to speak, a heavy silence fell upon the room. He was an immensely powerful aristocrat and a veteran commander, albeit not a very competent one. Most of his wealth and political power was derived from his stake in the silver mines of Iberia and the heavy taxation he imposed on African tribes that lived on the vast expanses of land which he owned.
Phoenicians, right, came before this, so I got to learn about them.
As such, in the Senate he represented the interests of the wealthy, for whom it was profitable to sue for peace with Rome, even with unfavorable terms for Carthage, because a peace agreement would enable Hanna and his supporters to assume their maritime commercial operations. In addition, their interests in rare metals is the reason why Hanna favored redirecting reinforcements to protect Iberia.
Okay, so I'm not saying that looking after these things that this guy Hanno wants to look after is could not be a good thing for the people of Carthage, but it also really looks like he's looking after his own best interests as, to keep wealth and other really rich people around him, and isn't so willing to risk that in order to get more land for Carthage and to take on Rome. And so, not a huge fan here of this guy, but I understand. Yeah.
And why he preferred territorial expansion not into Italy, but into Africa.
Okay. Maybe I'm judging too quickly.
Where he and his powerful friends stood to profit from expanding their already endless...
Maybe not. I gotta shut up. I flip-flop.
...tracts of taxable land. These discrepancies between the interests of the super-wealthy and the war effort of Carthage was what made Hanno the leading opponent of the Barca family and their war of conquest in Italy. He addressed Mago. You say the armies of the enemy are slain, yet you ask for more soldiers. You say the enemy camps are looted, yet you ask for corn and funds. I wonder, if you ask for all of this help, is Hannibal truthful about his victories?
Fair question. Fair question, okay? You know, that is fair, you know, but at the same time, you know, he at the same time, you know, conquering Rome, you could still want that stuff just to sure up victory. And so, okay.
If he is, then I say he doesn't need help from us. And if he is not, then he doesn't deserve it. At hearing this,
interesting
senators
point
from the docks behind Hanno cheered him on. He continued, You say, Mago, that Roman power is annihilated and that Italy is in a state of revolt. I ask you then, has a single Roman or any of the 35 tribes come to our side? No, they have not, Mago replied. Hanno went on. Then there are still too many Romans left. Do you know then, Mago, is the enemy's will to fight broken? Have they approached Hannibal for peace? I do not know, Mago answered. A truthful answer, given that he parted ways with Hannibal soon after the Battle of Cannae, and was unaware if any negotiations with Rome were taking place. Well then, Hanno concluded, with many Romans still in the fight and no treating of peace, you have made no progress since the start of the war.
What?
I say, if Hannibal's victories are true, he should seek terms with Rome, and...
So I understand. Listen, I'm pausing a lot here. Just it's very interesting. So I understand his motives. So regardless of Hanno's motives, maybe to increase his wealth and the wealth of his friends around him and not care so much about the war effort, fine. But that doesn't mean that the points he's bringing up aren't fair and valid and good points, because you know that they don't have the bird's eye 2020 vision view we're getting in this History March video. They're back in Carthage, back in this time period. And so a lot of the stuff they said is fair. You know, Mago is a sales, you know, he's trying to sell the idea. And he's being truthful and whatnot. And he's bringing up good points, but I think his overall mindset is to help himself rather than Carthage. And now I don't get what Hanno's saying, because, so say Mago and even Hannibal are exaggerating slightly, if they are. So not what we know. I'm talking about from Hanno's point and the people over here in the Senate, or whatever you want to call this in Carthage. What he's saying now doesn't really make much sense, because what do you mean? Just because no Roman tribes that Mago knows of have joined Hannibal and refuted Rome, or and gave up on Rome, or whatever, allegiance against Rome and with Carthage, that means they haven't made any progress. And shouldn't that be even more reason that they do need more soldiers and whatnot? And even if they're being as truthful over here about how much they've taken over in Rome and how demoralized they are, you still want to send as much people over there as possible, since blood is in the water, in order to sure up victory. And so...
not ask for help from Carthage. For if he cannot obtain peace after his supposed victories, what terms will he be able to obtain if his fortunes against the Romans change? It seems to me that we are not discussing peace, but only talking about helping the agenda of one man, Hannibal. Hanno clearly showed in this senatorial meeting why he was one of the most capable orators of his time. But as clever as he was in discrediting Hannibal, the supporters of the Barcids were outraged, and they had every reason to be. Hanno insisted that Carthage must negotiate with Rome, that peace was necessary, thereby implying that Carthage should not and cannot risk the consequences of losing the war.
And he's implying Hannibal is being selfish when he, in fact, is being much more so.
Must make peace now while the going is good. If this fear of defeat ever reached the enemy, for the Romans it would be like smelling blood. Despite their setbacks against Hannibal, with such division among Carthage's top officials, the Romans would know that they had already won the war. So it's needless to say that Hanno's dissemination of this dangerous rhetoric directly undermined Carthage's war effort and perhaps its future as an imperial power. As Hannibal once said to his men...
Well, how would Rome get to know what Hanno just said?
War is won by those who are ready to conquer or die. And Rome had already shown its readiness to conquer or perish. Carthage, having chosen to walk the path of empire for 600 years, had to show that same resolve if it was to be victorious and retain its imperial status. Hannibal's supporters further argued that, as the only man who showed consistent success in command, deep in enemy territory no less, he must be supported, even if Iberia was lost. In their view, to conquer a peace agreement at the gates of Rome meant that the withdrawal of Roman troops from Iberia could be demanded as a condition during negotiations, and Carthaginian dominance over the western Mediterranean could be restored. Amidst this ongoing political turmoil in Carthage, the majority of the Senate was nevertheless impressed enough with Mago's
Did he mean Roman dominance? Because didn't he say Carthage would lose Iberia?
report to vote in favor of sending him back to Italy with an army and funds to aid Hannibal. In favor of Senate was nevertheless impressed enough with Mago's report to vote in favor of sending him back to Italy with an army and funds to aid Hannibal. A host of 12,000 African infantry, up to 6,000 Numidian cavalry, and around 40 elephants were to be assembled. But Hanno's political tentacles reached across the empire, and he would severely slow down the recruitment of Hannibal's reinforcements at every turn, prolonging the process for around 6 months.
Come on, get this guy out of here.
Then, as the latter days of autumn brought with them the scent of the stinging coldness that was just around the corner, a message arrived from Sardinia. It was from Hampsicora of Cornus, a Sardo-Punic political leader and one of the richest landowners of Sardinia. Much of the island was still dominated by the Punic elite, especially along the western and southern coasts, which were part of the Carthaginian Empire for over 250 years, until Sardinia came under Roman control just 20 years ago, in 237 BC. This resulted in a strained relationship between the Romans and Sardinia's ruling class and its population. Occasional clashes flared up, but the legions were largely able to keep the peace and exploit the island's rich resources of grain, salt, wine, and olives, as well as several big mining operations of gold and silver, a valuable source for minting new currency, and lead, which was used in various fields of civil life, from crockery to water pipes. But most importantly, Sardinia was a vital point for controlling access to Roman waters and could serve to intercept Carthaginian shipping to the south. However, the situation was now ripe for revolt. The ambassadors that carried the message pleaded for help, and the Carthaginian Senate made a decision to mobilize another army of 12,000 infantry and 1,500 horse to be sent to Sardinia under the command of Hasdrubal the Bald. Meanwhile, on the rest of Ireland, Hampsicora was joined by Hanno of Tharos. Their combined force motivated more cities to rise up, and some of the inland tribes pledged their support as well. Rebellion in Sardinia had begun. News of the unrest had reached Praetor Quintus Mucius Scaevola, a member of the ancient and noble patrician family. He immediately sent word back to Rome, asking for help. The Roman legion under his command was under strength due to sickness that he too suffered from and was unable to perform his duties. Provisions and payments for the troops were irregular amidst the chaos of the war, which only made the situation worse. Upon receipt of the warties, provisions and payments for the troops were irregular amidst the chaos of the war, which only made the situation worse. Upon receiving his message, the Roman Senate hurriedly sent Titus Manlius Torquatus with a small contingent and provisions to patch up the legion in Sardinia. Titus was a distinguished Roman politician, twice a consul in 235 and 224 BC, and a member of the Manlia family, one of the most important patrician families of the Republic. Once he disembarked at Cagliari, Titus temporarily assumed command, bringing news that more reinforcements would come next spring. But upon learning of the activities of the rebels, he realized that he would not be able to hold out through the winter. The legion was still under strength and in poor health. Worse, once the Sardo-Punic army fully mobilized, they would outnumber the Romans at least 2-1, and this ratio would rise to 4-1 if the Carthaginians managed to reach the island before winter. Something needed to be done now, so Titus took provisions to last a few days and gathered no more than 6,000 men that were fit to march towards Cornus. Meanwhile, Amsicora journeyed
We're about to have a Sardinia battle?
into the Sardinian interior. Meanwhile, Amsicora journeyed into the Sardinian interior to recruit troops from the tribes that declared their
Of course we are.
support
It's
for
Battle
the
of Cornus. Of course they are. Sorry.
Sardinian interior to recruit troops from the tribes that declared their support for the uprising. He left his son Hiostus in charge of the 10,000-strong army and a collection of provisions until he returned. But Titus was closing in fast. On approach, the numerical advantage of the Sardo-Punic army was clear. Tucked in between the sea to the west and the hills to the east, they held a strong position with the walls of Cornus behind them. But Titus observed that the enemy was not in full battle order, and that no archers were manning the walls. It appeared as if they were not expecting a battle. He ordered the Roman line forward. All too aware of the poor physical condition of his men, Titus slowed the advance to a crawl, making it easier for his tired troops to maintain their formation.
What is with them not in line?
That by closing the distance he would unnerve the enemy and force them into committing themselves forward. If the Sardo-Punic troops broke formation to charge, this would give the compact Roman legion a chance. But Hiostus's orders were not to attack. Titus gradually halted his advance a mere stone's throw away from the opponent, yet they wouldn't move. Understanding that
It'd be so cool to be, not just this, just any moment really in history before, like, firearms, I guess, and cannons. Maybe even then, but just seeing two armies just face each other and eye each other down before the battle.
It would be impossible to dislodge a more numerous and better rested army from their defensive position. The Roman general resorted to harsh language. He berated Hiostus, questioning his bravery and his manhood. Some of the centurions joined in with their own insults.
Smallisticus, okay.
The laughter of the Roman troops could be heard inside the city. The young Sardo-Punic aristocrat was fuming. After a few minutes of this verbal barrage, he could take no more.
Well,
with their pride bruised, Hiostus's men attacked with zest. The weary Roman line bore the initial brunt of the charge with some difficulty.
I'm almost hoping they get
held
crushed
their
now.
nerve, encouraged by experienced centurions to stay compact behind their shields until the enemy ran out of steam.
I can't believe that worked. I'm sorry. I just can't believe that worked. The provoking. It seems like the Romans are in trouble here, judged by the fracturing of the legion's symbols, but
Titus then gave the signal. The formation of the less disciplined Sardo-Punic troops quickly began to crumble against the advance of the veteran legionaries. Step by step, the Roman line trod forward, jabbing at the enemy from behind the wall of shields. It soon became clear that Heostas's rash attack for the sake of saving face in front of his...
I was rooting for you, Heostas, all right? And now I'm rooting against you because of that. Your ego is that
men
fragile.
Was a bad decision. By attacking the Roman line, he abandoned his strong defensive position and trapped his own army between the enemy, the hills and the sea, and the walls of the city. Unable to escape, 5,700 Sardo-Punic troops, some 60% of his army, were cut down. But the exhausted Romans could fight no more and had begun taking losses as well. Seeing that his men are at their limit, Titus pulled back.
Your mother is a hamster, and your father smells of elderberries. What? Attack! Smallest, thickest.
The Roman victory at Cornus did not succeed in destroying one Sardo-Punic army before another one could be assembled, but it gave Titus some time to prepare for the next encounter. Many of his men died on the way back due to exhaustion and sickness, but Titus's swift action killed off some of the best troops that the rebel cities could levy and had put a dent in the morale of the Sardo-Punic army.
If you had just waited, all right, Heostas, for Hampsicora, and he was so good. He was like, all right, wait, everyone, don't take the bluff charge and wait. And as soon as they're like, you got a small wiener, he's like, what? Charge.
Whatever troops Hampsicora recruited from the other cities and tribes further inland,
didn't matter
he would
anymore.
now likely be more inclined to wait for the Carthaginian army to come to his aid than to take on the Romans himself.
Ooh, look at that battle, man.
For now, the Roman army in Sardinia held on. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy our videos, click like and subscribe as a sacrifice to the gods of the algorithm.
To the gods. I'm going to unsubscribe and then subscribe again and then put on the bell icon again so the gods love me. Awesome video. History March is great. Now that I know where the Carthage, the last battle of the Punic Wars happens, it happens in North Africa, right? Or is it Zama or something? In North Africa, before, when I originally reacted to this series, to all of them that were out, I think there were like 13 episodes out. I figured it was the end, and I thought that's where Hannibal must have died. But in fact, he had an amazing victory, probably the biggest victory of the war at, I forget the name. But I've learned where it does end now, and so there are less surprises. That one blew my mind, though. And yeah, this is a great episode. Great channel, awesome. I will continue it when the next episode comes out. See you guys next time.